Today, we will discuss the future of Poland as suggested by the delegates sitting around this table. We shall start with Sławomir Sierkowski's proposal.
1. Polish citizenship to all immigrants. 2. Reintegration tax to cover the costs of moving 3.3 million Jews to Poland. 3. Hebrew as the second official language in Poland. 4. Dismissal notice of the Polish state concerning the concordat with the Vatican State. Each religious institution should act on the same level. 5. Minority house instead of Senate in Polish Parliament.
I think we could even extend that by even granting citizenship to people who are of Polish descent who haven't asked for it. So we just mail the passports to people in Israel and in the States, and they get them in the mail, and then this way they don't even have to go to the embassy. And I think this would really serve the agenda of this movement, because I think if they receive this passport, they would say, well, I might as well go and see what they want.
I just wanted to know who has to pay the tax. Is it the Polish people, which would be okay for me, or is it to be shared all over the world, or who is doing this?
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be bad to tax the Germans, of course, which is what you're implying, of course. I think it wouldn't be bad. I think this would also be the first, it would be a precedent, because it would be the first case of one country taxing the citizens of another country. I think this would be a marvelous international precedent. I think that's, as a kind of an absurd gesture, it would be wonderful.
I wonder why Hebrew should be the second language, since I think most of, or maybe half, I don't know how many of the Jews with Polish ancestry who are not in Poland speak Hebrew. I'd say there are many more who speak other languages, for example, Spanish, Portuguese.
I think that the idea is to revive the Jewry that used to live in Poland back then, and the language was mostly Yiddish and Polish in a way, but in any way not Hebrew.
I would rather suggest the second language in Poland actually Vietnamese language, because today our minority in Poland is Vietnamese minority, and actually they are inhabiting the former Jewish ghetto part in Warsaw also. So I would see those things also together.
According to the official church statistics, we have 96% of Catholics in Poland, I think, if I'm not wrong, which is a powerful weapon in the hands of the Catholic Church, who says we can't have legal abortion in Poland, for example, because we have 96% of people who, by definition, are against abortion. The regulation that is imposed by the Catholic Church is that you have to go to the church in which you were baptized, together with 2 adult witnesses, and you have to go there twice, because for the first time that you go, the local priest is obliged to preach to you for approximately 1 hour, trying to convince you not to step out of the church. And only after you reconfirm, yes, I do want to please be excommunicated, can you actually finish this process and stop being a member of the Catholic Church. I think this is against human rights, and I think that we as a movement should campaign to allow our members religious freedom, actually, in the sense of an easy way out of the institution with which maybe they do not necessarily identify themselves with.
We have to forbid the so early baptizing. You can be baptized when you are old, but you are mature. It's cruel and crazy to baptize someone who is unconscious. I'm for a multicultural country and multi-religion and coexisting all religion together. But for Polish Catholic Church, I would like to give some condition to this church and said that you can exist in our country together with other religions, but in one condition. You should decide for ordination of women for priests. It's first condition. And second, accept the homosexual marriages. And then after this condition, Polish church can exist. And that's my...
Yeah, I think on a very similar issue, I think I, of course, agree with Kinga's statements about limiting and changing the practices of the Catholic Church. The problem is that one of our postulates is that all religions should be equal. We voted on this today. All religions should be treated the same. This would mean that we wouldn't allow circumcision.
Dismissal notice of the Polish state concerning the concordat with the Vatican state. Each religious institution should act on the same level. We have 1 no and 48 yes. So that will become a part of the agenda.
So my proposal is mainly about the problem of inviting also to Poland not only 3 million and a half of Jewish men, but also maybe some Jewish women, because all the time when we say Jews, we mean general the men. But if you want to invite someone to Poland, you must really also ask the gender question. How will feel in today Poland, the woman which try to live in the Poland? No reasonable woman will like to settle in a country where abortion is forbidden. It's extremely humiliating. But to change all of this, we must change something very basic, I say. We have to change the mentality of Polish men. We should limiting men's involving in all kinds of governments. I think it's make of kind of parity quotes, and I think maximum 30% for men. It's more than enough. And in this way, Polish men find how it looks like living in the place where you don't have power, and it's very useful for them.
Is discrimination a good response to discrimination? Is it the only way to achieve the equality? To discriminate those who are discriminating someone before? Is there any other option?
Always someone who discriminates give this kind of comments.
It's a good thing for people who oppress, and oppression can be something, very passive. You just take rights. You just take them for granted. It's a good thing for people who have rights for granted to once not to have them, right? A good thing for people who don't get to stand in checkpoints to have to stand in checkpoints, etc., etc.
We always think maybe of a certain type of Jewish people that we want to invite. And this is just an open question, like, what is our desire? Like, whom do we want to have back? Because, Mea Shearim's ways of putting things in life and the violent traditions there, it's actually so much connected to what we have already in Poland. And I'm just posing this question: do we want to invite everybody?
As the American Republicans have found out, the minute they stopped being racist and anti-immigrants, they realized that a lot of immigrants and people from minorities are actually on their side in being homophobes, misogynist, and so on and so forth. So in fact, immigrants, especially from poor countries, tend to be an ally in the repressive mechanisms of the patriarchy. So this is again the question of whom do we want? Because it seems like in the imagery that Yael Bertana used in the first film, where Sławek Sierakowski gives his speech in Warsaw at the stadium, the imagery she uses suggests that the Jews that we want back are the liberal urban Jews. We want Franz Kafka, Bruno Schulz. We want Emma Goldman to come to Poland. That's whom Sławek was inviting and hoping that they would all be like this. When I think we've come up, I think the question of patriarchy is a very, very important question, and one that really forces us to define the scope or the ideas or the goals of this movement. Because why create a movement that will again create another repressive society?
Yes, we want to invite also Jewish people who are not so liberal, and we want to be for them liberal. We want to avoid the situation when any kind of religion movement will dominate the political situation or cultural situation, and also we don't want patriarchat in our country, and that's all.
In Iceland, after the speculation and the financial crash, actually what was observed in this progressive society is that the banking was too much testosterone driven, and they are considering now the anti-testosterone implementations or rules for banking sector not to be dominated by men.
My idea, it's not totally changing the world and Poland forever, but it's a temporary temporary solution. Because now we have domination of men and domination of Catholic Church, so we have to stop it, to teach this men and this organization to be in equal or even lower position for some time, to have for them a new experience how to not be in power and but in a lower position. So my demand is to open Poland for women, Jewish women and other women, also Polish women.
Yeah, there's one.
Who voted no? Who voted no? Stand up! No.
We have 2 no and 44 yes, so the proposal is accepted into the agenda.
I would like to speak about certain tourism which is going on between Poland and Israel since last 20 years, quite intensively, and I mean Israeli youth delegations to Poland and also Polish religious pilgrimage to Holy Land, to Israel. What I propose is actually through redirection of those tours to question the Polish still existing nationalism, anti-Semitism and hostility, somehow rebrand Poland as Germany did it very well, rebrand itself towards a Jewish perception. So what could be done? I mean, this is just an opening question, and I hope we can discuss it, how these tours and also pilgrimages in Israel could be redirected. First of all, I think what should be included is also that these tours also should go to Germany, both to Poland and Germany. I mean, to the sites of former concentration camps, but not only in Polish territory.
The Israeli tours for young people are organized by the state. They're a function of the state, and then and have a concrete function. Their function is to have young people come to Poland, and the very obvious message that they get is, if you don't go and fight for Israel, this will happen to you. This is why these trips exist. Create a kind of subversion, that we create all sorts of opportunities for these participants to go and sneak away from their groups during these trips and create, you know, all sorts of parties, and in just on the tours, on the trails of these trips, these young people coming from Israel to get this message could have all sorts of temptations, Polish temptations. That would lure them away from this military, and they would associate with, wow, Poland was this incredibly sexy place where there were all these wonderful things, but I had to listen to these terrible things that my military, you know, that the advisors from the military kept on telling me. But I wanted to go and meet boys or meet girls and do all these things. So I think the sexual element here and the element of hormones is incredibly important and is what we can build upon here.
I want Poland to be the country which is, ready to welcome the other, but I'm not quite sure, do I want Poland to be a touristic attraction? I don't find those things equal. So that is my question. Do you really see the link between tourism and welcome the other?
The first visited place out of all cultural institutions is Auschwitz, of course, with 1 million visitors per year, and the second is the Castle of Krakow with 500,000, so 50% less, So, and also we can see in Krakow on the daily basis the leaflets stating in one day 99 zlotys, Auschwitz, rafting, and Wieliczka, and a free pickup.
Do you think that we should really make it part of the Jewish Renaissance movement to make those I don't know, to make Poland a touristic attraction?
It is quite important, I guess, also to create a situation that we also are in the dialogue and not only observed through the windows of the bus.
Okay.
How would you like to redirect those people, those Catholic Poles who go to Israel to see the sites where Jesus lived and died? What is your idea there?
I think first they have to understand that they don't only go to the Holy Land but also to the modern country.
Tourism is important because it's a tool, just to clarify the comments made, because it's a tool to achieve the goals of this movement.
As a North American Jew, I think that it cannot be underestimated the extent to which these kinds of travel programs influence the Jewish world's perception of Poland, and changing the Jewish world's perception of Poland has to be the first step for any support of a movement like this.
If the goal, okay, it has to serve our goal, but just relocating Jews, it's not a goal in itself. It has broader goals. But if the broader goal is promotion of Polish state, that what I hear here, then I'm sorry, I cannot buy it. Yeah, I'm sorry. So if we are getting rid of one nationalism of Israeli state to create another nationalism, which might be multicultural, multinational, good, it will be even stronger, the country, if it will have not only Poles but Jews. But if it's all about promotion of this state, then I don't know what we are doing here.
As long as we do not abolish the concept of citizenship, we are not doing anything with the nation state. So we can change numbers, we can change the configuration for sure, but it is not true that we are changing the logic of the nation state. Today, universal human rights are guarded and protected by one mechanism only, citizenship. And as long as that mechanism is, and perhaps we don't have an alternative, it's not to suggest that, but that is what nation state is. That is the system that keeps that in place, and that has not been challenged. So in that sense, she is right. There is a suggestion of removal of population from one nation state into another nation state, which will have, a multi-cultural population, and perhaps even will not be called Poland anymore, but something else. It will still be a nation state.
Maybe you can do that once again, Joanna, so it can be clear for us what the proposal is.
To subvert the route of Israeli youth delegations to Poland and Polish pilgrimage tours to Israel with the help of Poles, Jews, and Germans.
Yes. Thank you. We have 7 no and 43 yes. So Jana Warsza's proposal will become a part of the agenda of the Jewish Renaissance movement in Poland.
The state of Poland should devote 15% of its annual budget to culture and the arts. 15% of its annual budget to culture and the arts. This is the central state budget. Let me explain how this should work. The current situation, for those of you who aren't from Poland, is that the state of Poland dedicates less than 1% of its annual budget to culture and the arts, which is, I think, the lowest in the European Union and one of the lowest around the world. It would create a creativity vacuum, meaning that we have more demand for creative people than we have in Poland. This would provoke all the Israelis from Tel Aviv, to go back to our original point, would move to Sopot, which is also by the sea in Poland. And so this is how we would convince them. We'd say, we have a lot of money for the arts. You can come, you can live by the sea in Sopot. So it would really develop Sopot. But also, I mean, they could move to other places as well. You know, everybody could move where they wanted to, of course. The creativity vacuum would draw creative people from everywhere, from around the world. So it's also a form, you could say, of creative warfare, because we would create a brain drain from all the other countries. So this is good for the economy, of course. These creative people, and this is, you know, the key. The creative people, the total culture plan would create an ideas bank. So we would have more ideas than any society has ever had. We would have so many ideas, we would be able to solve all problems. Yes? Because just imagine, we're talking about millions and millions of whatever currency you can imagine. Everybody will be able to think and think of concepts and solve whatever problems we think about. We'll be able to solve problems that we haven't even thought about today.
First, I thought it's really a great idea, but then I envisioned it, and then I thought, like, you want us to become this movement, just another Green Party, and now you suggest that Poland just becomes another Berlin Mitte. That is really a horrible thought. I don't want to live in a place where there are more artists and creative people around than already are here.
Would also redress historical wrongs, in the sense that the situation of Poland, which is also very different from Mitte, is that the situation of Poland is, as Czesław Miłosz has written, that Poland doesn't have material works of art, not because they weren't never created, but because they were destroyed. And this was done by the very concrete historical force, Nazi Germany. This is the loss of culture is unimaginable.
Not all the countries which are represented by us today here need that. Poland needs that. Maybe Sweden and Germany doesn't need that because they already have it. But somehow we have to take into consideration that, for example, for some countries, this is a reality, or this would be a radical change. That would be a visionary thing. So I would suggest that first, let's have the Mitte also in Poland, and then, you know, let's deal with it. For example, I come from Greece. If that would happen in Greece right now, I don't know. I mean, you can imagine, that would be a revolution.
I thought it was a kind of subversive affirmation of the creativity rhetorics that we usually hear from neoliberal politicians. But the more I listen to you, the more it seems like you're really just affirming and not being subversive at all. I heard you say several very symptomatic things. One of them was, for an example, it's not about art, it's about creativity. That's the first one. The second one is, we were spending a lot of time explaining to politicians about how good art would be for the economy, and so on. The problem is, just to say it very, very simply, you can't increase arts funding without radically looking at all the other funding that's going on. You can't go in this direction and think that arts funding will solve something from the top down, that culture will do something. I really want to say that I really strongly disagree with you in the way you framed your argument, the way you've laid it out. So I'm going to vote against you, and I would ask everyone else to vote against you too. The thing is not for us to get more funding, but to bring more meaning to the things we do.
What I emphasize, of course, this huge amount of money would go to all sorts of artistic projects. But what I'm emphasizing, and I think I've made this point very clear, I'm emphasizing vast amounts of culturally underprivileged people all around Poland who have no access to culture. This is what I'm emphasizing. So I'm really not saying that organizations such as the Berlin Biennale should get more money. I'm really saying that somebody who lives in a very underprivileged area of Poland should have the access to learning to play an instrument, which then does increase also their chances in the world. It does, and I don't think that's such a bad thing, that it increases their chances of in the world. I want to just say there was a very important precedent to this, which is the WPA's art program in the 1930s as part of the New Deal. in which tons and tons of money during the Great Depression in America went to the creation of artworks. And this program supported such artists as Tennessee Williams and Jackson Pollock, and I could list 100 more, and did create actually great works of art. So that was a response to a point made before, and enabled, in fact, American culture as we know it, which became so dominant in the 50s, 60s, 70s, to exist.
Something is a bit of a concern for me here in the sense of what is it that we are believing in, right? What is this building narrative that is going to, liberate us? Because still, again, what I hear behind is, forces of the unadvantaged, the barbaric, etc., that will be uplifted. And so I'm not suggesting that you are saying that, but I need a clarification. Otherwise, I cannot vote for that.
Great, thank you. So now is the opportunity for you, Michał, to summarize in your...
The state of Poland should devote 15% of its annual budget to culture and the arts.
Okay, and we will, concurrent with our new voting methods, we will vote now on Michał's proposal. $25 no and 33 yes. So this proposal will be accepted into the agenda.
The first step for any mass return of Jews to Poland is to remap Polish Jewish memory. It is the physical, material environment of the nation, monuments, memorials, tourist routes, that scaffolds our sense of national identity. We want to change this ecosystem of memory with a comprehensive program we call Birthright Poland. Birthright Israel is the program that offers a free trip to Israel for every diaspora Jew. Birthright Poland adapts this principle for the needs of the Polish Renaissance movement in Poland.
Birthright Poland is a Polish government-funded youth travel program. It brings Jewish youth to Poland to explore the country's long and diverse history with their Polish, German, Roma, Ukrainian, Belarusian, and other European counterparts. Instead of Jewish youth visiting Poland's landscape of Nazi camps, the international group will go camping. Campgrounds will be located in Polish forests. The forest is a space of possibility. Not yet mapped in the service of any one group's memory, it is a space ripe for reimagining.
Birthright Poland campers will reinvent long-standing camping traditions. These young pioneers will build settlements by learning ancestral construction techniques. Each group will build on the work of the former, preparing a welcoming landscape for the first wave of Renaissance movement returnees.
New sites will announce the deeds, creations, and achievements of ethnically diverse Polish women and men from a variety of historical moments.
Many maps of Jewish heritage in Poland look like this, where Polish Jewish heritage is reduced to Nazi death camps and ghettos. We have drafted a second map to feature an evolving landscape of diversity and cultural sharing, inspiring new generations of Poles and Jews to reimagine their roots, but also to embrace their futures. As an old Jewish legend has it, it was in the forest that the first Jewish travelers to Poland discovered their God-given home. According to the legend, entering the woods, they saw a passage from the Talmud engraved on every tree. And they knew they had come to the land where their ancestors dwelt. And they called the place Pauline, which in Hebrew means, "Here you shall find a haven." If Jewish life in Poland started in a forest, maybe it can restart in the forest as well. So.
Israeli people who they just love the idea of forests and exchanging deserts for forests. So it'll be very tempting for them. You have big pictures of like very old trees. They'll be attracted immediately. Yeah.
So the forest is not only a counter metaphor to the image that many Jews worldwide have of Poland being a grey country. They imagine Poland in black and white with grey skies.
Jews tend to be attracted to urban spaces, coffee, cakes. I don't know. I really am questioning the forest as a site of Jewish rejuvenation. The settler idea, yes, but if you notice, most of the settlers in Palestine, look at it's pretty spare. They like condos that look very more like Hitler's bunker than like forests. So just thought, I'm not against the forest. I just think that the bond will need to be pursued a lot more aggressively. It's not a natural one. Jews will not go for forests.
And our proposal from Magdalena Wadegórska and Erika Lehrer, I ask you now to vote. Birthright Poland. $10 no and 40 yes. So Birthright Poland will become part of the agenda.
Yes,